Hello crafty friends and welcome to the Crafty Purple Frog YouTube channel. I'm here today with a guest designer spot for Heffy Doodle. I'm going to be creating a really cute scene card using some masking techniques. I've got a good selection of Heffy Doodle goodies here. I've got the Ringmaster sequin set, which I'm going to use to decorate things with afterwards. I've got the little label dies, little label sentiments and the add-on dies there that I'm going to be using. I've also got the Cozy Kitties stamp set, and I'm going to be using a couple of the stamps from this set and mix and matching them with the Fireside Dreams set. You can get coordinating dies with both of these stamp sets, but I'm not going to be using them today because I'm just going to be masking and layering. I'm also going to use that pinstripe stencil there, also from Heffy Doodle. And I'm going to be using this little mini die cutting machine from Heffy Doodle, which has changed my life. I love it so much. And also this Heffy Doodle memo tape, which if you haven't used, you really need to. It's brilliant, especially for masking like we're going to do today. So here I am literally just using a bit of scrap paper to work out exactly what stamps I want to use from these different sets. It doesn't matter if you've got an old ink pad that you're using for this, just anything, just so you can get an idea of what you want and where you want to put it. So I'm using the Fireside there from the Fireside Dream set and this little cute little dog. And I also wanted to bring in one of the kitties as well, so I'm putting them up on top of the fire there, keeping nice and warm, and using a little plant from that set as well, just to again help decorate my room a little bit. And then I thought the dog just needed something to be comfy on, so I'm going to give him a little mat as well. Now, if I'd have been sensible when I did this, I would have used a bit of paper that was cut to the size of the card that I'm going to be using. But instead, I'm going to add myself in an extra step, but you don't have to. Learn by my mistakes. So now I know, you'll see that later on, but now I know what stamps I want, I'm going to use my handy Heffy memo tape to do little masks of every single one of the ones that I want. So I'm here just stamping them out onto the memo tape, and then I'm going to fussy cut all of those out. I want to get as close as I can to those black lines. If possible, go a little bit into the outside black lines, just so that I don't get any little halos around my images when I stick these on to the paper in a minute. Now, some things can be a little bit tricky to do, like this plant here with the little branches up to those leaves, so I'm just going to cut those off because they are just lines anyway, and I can always draw them on later if I need to. So never be worried about just cutting bits out if you need to. Also, you can always stick bits back together if you need to. So if you need to cut straight through something to get to, I don't know, a little bit in the middle somewhere, just do it and then use both bits to stick down together next to each other. Don't make life more difficult for yourself than you need to. This Heffy Doodle memo tape is just perfect for doing these sorts of things because it's such a light tack that it can pull back up really easily without wrecking what you've done, but it's strong enough that you can do all your inking and everything you need to over the top of it without having to worry at all. So I think this is one of my last little pieces here that I'm just cutting out, this little fire. And there we go. I think I've got all the pieces that I need now ready for my stamping. So now I'm going to bring back in my stamp platform, and here I've literally just worked out exactly the size of the card that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to stick all of my masks down onto this so that I know that I'm getting everything in the place that I want to on the card. It doesn't matter again with that plant where you put the leaves as such, it's just to give you an idea. And then I can use my stamping platform to line my stamps up exactly with where they've been put on this bit of card. So I've got my second bit, which is the bit that I'm actually going to be using for my card. So again, like I say, you could have just used the scrap bit in the first place to do this, and if I was doing it again, I would just do that. So for this, you want to start with the bits that you have stuck on the top of your layout when you've been putting it down. Basically, you're going to do them in reverse order. So here you can see I'm doing the fire because that's stuck on top of the fireplace. So I'm just putting that in there. And then I need to do the cat because, again, her tail is just sticking over the top of the fire there. So I need to stick her on next. By working it out this way, you can literally just do the reverse of everything you've got. So as you can see, that pot was just going a little bit over the top of the fireplace there. So you can just stick that on, and then I'm just using the little masks I created to cover up the bits once they're done. And so my last bit here is this fireplace, which I can then put in place. Now there will be a reveal afterwards, but before that, I want to now make the rest of my scene. Now I was just deciding on which one of the stencils that I wanted to go with. I've decided on that pinstripe to just give a nice wall. But first I'm going to do the floor. So again, I'm using some of that Heffy memo tape to just mask myself off a line there. And I'm going to use some Distress Oxide Antique Linen and tea dye ink to just give myself a bit of a floor that my little dog can be lying on, a little bit of a base to my room. And I've lined up the memo tape and the card there with the background that you can see, which is my cutting mat, just to make sure that I've got it straight. I've just used a bit of water there as well to just flick onto that distress ink, just to give it a bit more texture down there. Now I've cleaned up my mat, and I'm going to use again that same bit of memo tape, but the other way around this time, and just mask off that floor that I've created. And I'm putting down here the pinstripe stencil from Heffy Doodle, which I love. It's these nice little fine stripes, and I'm going to use that to make a little striped wallpaper in the background there. So I'm using salvaged patina here as my first ink that I'm putting down as my lighter colour, and I love this sort of tealy almost colour. And then I'm going in with some Lucky Clover. Again, I'm just using my brushes and using almost a stripe along those pinstripes there. Now comes the reveal, and as you see, the mat came off with that Heffy memo tape, the first lot, and now you can see the whole image here just nice and clear. As you can see, all of those images are layered up really nicely. I'm so happy with the way that this turned out. So now I'm just going to colour it in, and I will leave you to watch this speed colouring here. And if you want the colours of the Copics that I've used to colour these, I'll put them all in the description for you, so you can find them there, and they'll also be on the blog post if you'd rather find them that way. And I will just leave you now to watch the colouring. Just quickly while I'm colouring away here, I also wanted to add that those masks that you made before, you've taken all that time to cut them out and do them all really nicely. You can save those. I stick them onto the packets of these stamps so that they're with them all the time, and then I can just reuse them, and I find that I can get a good few reuses out of them before that memo tape gives up. It's another reason that I really love that memo tape. It's really durable, and you can keep using it quite a few times before it sort of loses its stick. So if you've bothered to make these masks, save them and then use them again. And here I'm just adding back in those lines. You know how I said we can brighten them up because we didn't use a mask for them. And I'm now working out which of these two Heffy Doodle cardstocks I think will look best behind my image. And I decided to use a bit of both of them actually, but I thought that this yellow border was perfect for the background. So now I'm just going to use these little labels dies and the sentiments to create a bit of a tag to go up at the top with that sentiment that I worked out I wanted to use earlier. These little label stamps are so cute, and there are so many different types of sentiments in there. They're really, really good for pretty much every occasion. There's quite a few on there for Christmas, but as you can see, there's this lovely lots and lots of things that can be just used as general everyday sentiments as well. I really like the way that this little banner just gives it a little edge there. I'm just going to cut this card down to the right size for the front of my card panel, and just leaving a little edge of that bright yellow there to give it a bit of a pop. I'm using some liquid glue because I like the way that this gives me a little bit more extra wiggle time to be able to move and make sure that I've got that centered as I want it on the card. And now I'm just doing the finishing touches, putting this together. And of course, I couldn't leave it just like this after I work out where my sentiment wants to go. I need to add a little bit of sparkle to it, as every good card should have a little bit of sparkle, I think. Just trimming off the back of that label there, because I only want the front bit of it. And I'm also going to add in some little hand-drawn stitching just around the sides of this card. I just think it adds a little something to it and just really finishes the card off and brings it all together. You don't have to do this step, obviously, but I just really like the way that it looks in the end when you've added in that little extra bit. I'm also doing the same thing to the die of the little labels dies, just again to tie it all together and just add that little something extra onto this card. Last one here, and again I just do all this by eye, but you could measure it out to be exactly the size and the distance away that you want it. Now time for some of these Ringmaster sequin mixes. If you haven't seen these sequin mixes, they are so much fun. They have little gems in them and whole ranges of colours, and there's so many different sets now. You really can find something for everyone. I'm not going to use all of the colours in this one today. I'm just going to be using some of the gold and red colours, which again tie in with what I've got here already. And I'm just now sticking these little sequins down after I've worked out exactly where I want them. And now I'm also going in with a bit of a glitter pen just to add some more sparkle to that fire. I hope you like the card that I've made today, and I hope it's encouraged you to join in and make some scene cards as well, mixing and matching your stamp sets. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch my YouTube video and for supporting my channel. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Thank you.